Alright, we are back with the Peugeot px-10 project. It's been a long time, it's been sitting in the way for months. This was a old beater Peugeot I got for $100 off of the Craigslist and our Facebook Marketplace or whatever. And we did a full tune-up on it, did all the stuff. There's a couple things that drive me nuts and I just have not done. It's been sitting like 90% done for like 6 months. It still needs pedals, and I'm unhappy with these brake pads. They pushed in way too easy and slide right out. So I want to see if I can do something about that. Maybe I can pinch these holders just a little bit. I put a zillion pairs of these Mayfac replacement pads and a zillion pairs of Mayfac holders. They've all been pretty tight. These are a little bit sketchy loose. It weighs on me at night, you know. It's not very likely they're gonna ever fall out on their own. They're facing forward when you stop. But I'm gonna maybe get a little clamp or something to give these guys just a little pinch. But more than that, pedals. I've been putting off the pedals. I don't want to do the pedals. We need to do the pedals. I want this bike done. It was a beautiful February fake out sunny day. I went like a 2-hour bike ride today on the Nothing Special Schwinn. I picked up, I'll just show you. Picked up a couple of park repair clamps from a guy locally from a shop that closed years ago. He charged $50 a piece or the pair for $80. So I got the pair to go with that new park double arm stand that I got for $100 from the salvage sales the other day. And I'm probably gonna put these together. I really don't have room. I'm probably gonna put it up for sale, complete. Double arm stands usually go for about $3.99. So, you know, like $80 of this, $100 of that's $180 if I sell it for $4. You know, double my money. It's worth my time. And if I don't sell it, then I'll hang on to it out of the way until I do have room or can use it. So pedals. So these cranks are 170s. Oh, what? I thought they were. I feel like these cranks were marked. Maybe it's like way up under here. I feel like they were clearly marked French pedal threads. So I gotta do something about that. I have some pedals and some pedals and some pedals. I grabbed some French pedals. French pedals are usually labeled, yeah, different. It's like, can't really tell, S and G, D and G instead of left and right, D and G for... So here's a set of French pedals. They're low-end leotards. They're all steel. I'm not using them. They're heavy. They're not cool. Yeah, these guys, I think they're like old Atom pedals, and they're left and right. They're English threaded. They're more cool. They do say something on them. Made in France. They're still all steel. They got nice Christophe special toe cages and La Paz straps. Now, these are the ones that I'm thinking. So these are, I think, nice leotards. They have steel centers with their alloy outers. They have some nice big Christophe special cages. I don't think are as big as the other ones. Some white La Paz straps would be kind of cool. They're a little more worn out. But they are missing the dust caps. And is that all that's wrong with them? I feel like they feel loosey-goosey or something. Maybe they don't. They have no markings. A little lighter. This one's loose, so they need some lube and some adjusts and some dust caps. I think these are leotard. I think is what I was telling myself. I don't know why. But they're alloy outer cages. They have teeth. And they have this little nub on the inside and on the outside. I hate these nubs. I have wide feet. They stab my feet. They don't locate them. They suck. So if I use these, I think that I am going to file this one down flush with the top of these teeth and maybe even cut in a tooth or two for looks. I might sharpen all of these teeth, and I'm definitely going to cut this one down the same. I think that's my plan. And another set of very heavy, very cheap leotards. Labeled right and left, but these ones have really nice dust caps. So I'm thinking if those pedals are leotards, what I might do is steal these nice dust caps off of these ones and put them on those ones and see if that is the jam. Is that the jam? Let's give it a shot. I started giving up. I was like, I do have some leotard pedals. Those other ones, the dust caps are real chewy. But then I found these ones and I was like, oh snap. See if we can get them out without mangling them. Alright, alright. Okay. Man. Are you the same? Will you work? It's not acting like it. Luckily all the stuff's in the way. It's covered in dirt. Just want to see if the threads are the same. Oh. Oh, I think so. They are, so I do have these nice chrome dust caps. This would be more fun if I still had the custom shop, because I would do all this work and then I would sand these cages out and polish them, and that would be tight. Let's see if these axles actually go in. The problem is French and English threading is so close, it is very hard to tell. And you can definitely force, I think you can force English ones into French and mangle the cranks and strip everything out and blah blah blah. Or maybe it's the other way around, I don't really remember, but we're about to find out. It's a cool way they wrapped the strap around. I usually just do a twist, but they wrapped it all the way around the center section. I got big fat feet, I'd never be able to get in like that. And this bike is a fixed gear. And I could put it over on just the single speed side. It's got the back brake set up. So I don't need to run real toe cages and straps, but you know, it's more classic. Sometimes the pedals are real tight, I'll get like some needle nose pliers and push from this side. And toe straps. Push and we'll pull, give and take. There we go. Thread, thread, thread. Well, that's the wrong side, of course. Start all over again. Paid $2 a pound for these pedals. So probably got 10 or 20 bucks in. Probably could have gone on eBay and found a pretty nice set of French pedals for 10 or 20 bucks, maybe. I used to buy and sell some old French high-end stuff and it was more like 30 or 40, but that was back in the day. Back when old stuff was still kind of cheap and then the hipsters sort of blew the market up. Now the old guys got out of it and the hipsters, because it was too expensive, the hipsters got out of it because they moved on. So who really knows what is what anymore? The problem is I think French is a little smaller than English, so French will always seem like it threads in just fine. So you actually have to thread it all the way in. Cinch it down. Oh, these are threading all the way in. They're cinching down. These are definitely the right pedals. Oh my god. Yeah, these are like loose on this body. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that. Maybe the dust cap? It's the only thing that'll tighten them down. Let's get funky. I want to do minimal work to these. So I think I'm just gonna sort of sneak some lube in, put those dust caps on, pull them all apart, do my filing, and then clean them up. That sounds like a plan. I'm gonna wipe most of this grime off the outside so I can get the dust cap on. Let's see if I can just sneak these tighter if I'm gonna pull them all apart and get little bearing wrenches and make life a pain. Well, alright, 15 millimeter. It's French stuff, so it's going to be all weird sizes and funky, most likely. Oh, why would you be a 9? Oh, no, not a 10. It's got to be some funky bullshit. I got one of these weird wrenches. It's a weird size. It's 11, 13, 14, maybe. Alright. Nope. So the pedals are a cup and cone, like a hub or bottom bracket. I have to loosen this outer lock nut and adjust the cone. And there's probably a tool for it. There really isn't. There's barely like some wrench flats on there. Probably get some weird tool in. I think I just usually use a small flathead. Just try and turn that cone a little bit. Try and lock it down. It's probably going to turn it even tighter. If it does, I'm going to have to hold the flathead in there while turning this. Hoping you can get an adjustment. It's usually a thing. Yeah, now it's cray-cray. Turn it. Too much. I'm hoping I lock this down. It ends up the right spot. Might just be the body making me think it's... Turns. It's got some play. It's better than it was before. I'm afraid if I make it any tighter, it'll take all the play out. I can probably live with the pedal with a little bit of play, and worst case, if I like them, I can come back and tighten them down some more. 15mm, dude. Fit. Steal this other pretty clean leotard dust cap. See if we can steal it without mangling it. Come on, buddy. Alright. It's pretty clean. It's got a little scuffs. The other one's way nicer. How do you even? How do you even? What a design. This whole thing's loose. And now the bearing feels too tight, so let's play. I don't know how I feel about these pedals. I don't know if there's anything I can do. Maybe pinch these two plates just a little bit to make them a little tighter on this center body. I think that's exactly what needs to happen. Now the bearing feels too tight. Feels gross. I'll drip some lube in, it'll be fine. Let's get rid of all these cages and all this stuff and get it out of the way. Okay, alright. Okay, we're in my very small little closet that I have one little bench mounted down to and some junk in here. We're going to play with these pedals. The first thing I'm going to do is sort of mark this roughly across the top so we can cut this excess lip off. Still have to be a little higher in here so we can file it down, maybe put a tooth in. Same thing across here. I'm not being super scientific. Kind of just eyeballing it. As long as it's lower and not higher. Woohoo! Do I have a good way of holding these pedals while doing this? Not really. I do have a vise. I do have these aluminum soft jaws. This is just a piece of old aluminum like angle iron. Like, you know, like the L, long piece of the L channel or whatever. And I just cut them down and made them into little vice-y, jaw-y things. Just kind of gently squeeze this, these aluminum soft jaws. I kind of want to do this anyways, because they're sort of just like fake aluminum rivets. Like this piece of metal just sticks out a little bit, these little holes, and they sort of hammer it down. So maybe squeezing this a little bit will make these bodies a little stiffer. Maybe, maybe not. Good old, real serious I-beam hacksaw. I'm in love with this. I hate all those cheap, flimsy hacksaws. Got my Sharpie mark. I'm cutting straight up and down. The top of the hacksaw is touching the top of this, so it's really let me know where to cut. Tight. Might as well do this one while we're at it. Well, that line's pretty good. It's real small, real tight in here. Cool. Everyone loves it when stuff falls off the shelf because it barely moves. Luckily it's a sandpaper, it's pretty soft. Don't fall again, maybe? Being a little slow and careful here because I don't want to slip and have the blade nick up the pedal I'm saving and using. Even these pedals are kind of old and nicked up, and I'm not going to polish them. But, you know. Trying to do a good job. Woohoo! Got a real big bastard. I might mean that literally. I think this is called a bastard file. Sort of hold it right across. God, it is about it is about perfect. So make sure it's pretty straight. Around this edge a little bit, I'll probably come in with a finer file and maybe give it some teeth later. Same thing down here. It's a couple millimeters high. Edge in. Now you can see I've gotten rid of this top lip, gotten rid of this back lip. I think there's room for one tooth here. Might go right in the middle. What do I want to do about this? I feel like we could give it one on each side, you know? Squeezing this in the vise definitely made this feel tighter. I think that's a good thing. I'm going to come in here with a smaller file. Maybe this is reasonable. Oh, I got a triangle file. Maybe this is cool. I want a triangle file for cutting a triangle? Let's find out. It's kind of working. Yeah, that's pretty cute. Readjust. Sharpen all these teeth. Is the triangle file the file for that job? Feels that way. I'm not going crazy. That's why I'm a little sharper. I'm not going to make them real points, shit eaters. You can see the difference between the really dull and round side and my just sharpened a little bit side. See if this gives me enough traction. It's already a lot better. My hand smooths right over this and doesn't on this at all. In worst case, that really did literally take like 30 seconds. I can come in and add more. If I was going to polish these and go crazy, maybe I'd test ride them now. Maybe I would just sharpen them way too sharp, and when the polishing is going to take them down a little bit. It'd be sad to polish them all up and then realize that they weren't sharp enough for grabbing my feet. Come back and do it all again. Sort of doing a rhythm, sort of doing a pattern. So they're all about the same. Be careful not to nick this chrome center. And try not to hit anything that I'm not trying to hit. And I want to do this too. Be a little trickier. Oh, I did already put some shark marks on. Let's see. I can get to it from over here maybe. Angle her a little bit. Beautiful. And I'm just stopping and checking every few strokes to see how I like it. I like it. Do a little compare and contrast. So this one just has the Sharpie mark on it. See, it's nice and round. And now this one is flat, and I put 2 teeth in it, little file marks. Same thing with the back. Cut off this little lip and just put a little file mark in it. Trying to get it pretty much even and level. You can see the dull teeth and the sharp teeth. And I'm gonna do the other one. And we'll squirt some oil in, tighten these dudes up, and slap them on. Go through all this work and probably end up hating it and tapping those pedals out to English. Using some BMX platform pedals like a real fixed gear should have. Oh, lol. Well, of course, I got them all, well, you know, pretty cleaned up and dropped some lube in there and put the dust caps on. All filed and done. A little scruffy from using like a brass brush because I was lazy to get dirt off. I cannot find any wrench that's magically the right size to fit up in here. So I'm doing a trick. So here's a Park bottom bracket pin spanner. Sliding it up, sliding it down, tightening it, and giving it a little turn. Slide it up to where it's nice and loose. Come all the way over, slide it down so it's kind of tight, pinching it. It's kind of catching these wrench flats and giving it a little turn. This is gonna take 10 minutes per side, but they're on. Watch the bearing adjustments come loose the second I go for my first ride. I have to do this all over again. Come on, man. Which is what I fully believe will happen. As tight as I can get it. They look pretty clean with that shiny chrome. A nice little sharpenedy teeth. This whole side goes this way. Doing the best I can. I have lots of wrenches that are too small. I have one wrench that's too big but won't really fit in there. I was trying to do the whole jam a penny in trick. To sort of make this wrench the next size up. There's just really no room, and that worked. But I'm just hitting the sides and stuff. It's like, can't really do a lot of that. Maybe this side. I could take this wrench and shave it all the way down on both sides, so it's just two skinny spears. That would work great for this. If I had a cone wrench or something real easy and lazy, I probably would. But I sold all of my cone wrenches. I have no giant weird cone wrenches. Now you know where to save some giant weird cone wrenches. Come on, man. Come on, man. No. Worked on the other side. Oh, that moved a little tiny bit. Oh, now it moved. I moved a bunch. Well, it's probably tight enough not to come off on its own. It's leaking. I dripped some chain lube down this side. This is pouring out the other side. Some of this old French stuff had no seals. Some of it actually has like rifling machined into the axle. So it's not really a seal, but whenever you're riding in the right direction, it's forcing all the grease and water through the rifling like threads back out, not letting stuff in. These are pretty cute, man. These are pretty cute. Let's put them on. It's getting those threads grease. I'm gonna do a pedal washer because I don't like my cranks getting chewed up. More grease on these threads. These threads really look like they're going the wrong way. Did I put these in wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Oh. I think these pedals were on backwards before. Maybe they're off a tandem or something. The threads are definitely pointing in the wrong direction. So I'll flip around, I cut that lip down. You can't really tell. It doesn't really matter. Let's try that. Maybe I'm just being crazy. Sometimes it's like a USB, you know, it looks like it'll work. It won't work, and you flip it over, it still won't work, and you bring it back around where it could not work before, it works just fine. So yeah, I think these pedals are totally backwards. Ride and find out what happens. Oh, why don't I have an offset pedal wrench? Never wreck your cone wrenches using one things that aren't cones. Except for this time right now, I want to use this cone wrench. Get these pedals pretty close to tight, so we can just finish setting it up with this big giant heavy pedal wrench. Just like that. Hey, all right. Do toe cages and straps. I hope my big fat feet will fit in these. MKS for a while, I don't know if they still do, they made a double XL, double tall for the regular shoes. I would love a set of those right now. Do that, we're going to pinch these pads. I'm going to take this dude for a test ride. Go right up to the grocery store, a good couple of miles. Test out this sweet old basket. Probably try and ride it around the block and back a few times first, make sure these pedals don't come loose. Sometimes you mess with these bearings. They just don't tighten down right, they come right loose again. I feel like I've had that happen several times on the non-drive pedal. And that's why non-drive pedals usually reverse thread, but the cones aren't. You gotta love old bikes. These are definitely not matching and not even the same size. One's like a large, one's like a medium. So we are going to steal these ones off these other pedals. They're actually the same length. I thought they were shorter before, but they're not. And these have all 4 matching old nuts and bolts. And we wanted to steal these toe straps anyways, too, I think. So I'll do that now. All right, got the pedals all on and tightened. Got the toe cages and straps all on. Hopefully not possible to kick into. I grabbed a C-clamp, which I have misplaced now. My phone died, so I had to charge it for a minute. I just took a C-clamp, clamped it on, and just gave all these pads a little squeeze so they're not, you know, like super easy to pull out. Should be more than enough. Tomorrow, this dude will get its double checks and a little test ride. Oh, I got some bar end plugs I want to pop in too. It is late and I am falling asleep. I got some bar plugs. There's a skinny one and a fat one. It's more like road drops. I found these in the free box at Bike Farm. Thought they'd be a nice touch, maybe. I think they're like bamboo. I don't know. They're darker, maybe. They're a little weird. Whatever. They're cool. Probably fall right out. I really have no idea. I had a different C-clamp set aside, an aluminum one, so I thought it wouldn't mar. Couldn't find it, so I found a regular one. Got that on there, just twisted it annoyingly and fought it. And set it somewhere. Can't find it. You know what a C-clamp is. Alright, I'll check back in tomorrow after I air up these tires and take this thing on a test ride. It's a leather saddle. It needs some work too, but it's cool. Just took the Peugeot for its first test ride. Really did great. There's a random click I get very randomly, intermittently. Could be the bottom bracket, could be that freewheel, could be a tight link in the chain. I'll have to play with it and see what's going on. I mean, maybe it could be the hubs. I've never ridden these wheels before. It's very random, very intermittent. It's probably not a big deal. Probably the chain catching. We'll see. Pedals did great. They didn't come loose. They didn't tighten up. I can slip my stupid foot in and out. I can't really fit inside these toe cages. These little French toe cages and straps are so short. My Birkenstocks are so wide. I got the garden clogs. But it was a good first test ride. I'm going to double check. There's not a tight link in the chain and anything else. Back brake feels good. Front brake's slightly looser in the back. That's just how it is. It's impossible to get old brakes and no barrel adjusters dialed in exactly the same. This old Brooks felt totally fine to me. I did wimp out and flip it over from the fixed gear side to the freewheel side. Maybe I'll flip it back over for the next test ride. This might fit. It felt great. The stem is very long. It's the stock stem. And it magically fit 25 4 bars. You know, I'll keep an eye out if I find a cooler French stem that's a little shorter that magically fits 25 4 bars. I might grab it and swap it out. The basket's on a little crooked, but it doesn't really matter. This thing felt great. The front brake was trying to squeal a little bit if I was just using it, but it's totally quiet half the time, and if I'm trying to use them both. Some new cool stop pads. 4215 used to be my favorite gear for fixed gears and single speeds, and it is big. I don't know if my knees could actually handle it. I only like barely slid forward on the saddle to climb some real small hills. I didn't actually, you know, try and stand and climb, but these silver classic-y flat bars are really wide. Like, it is nice. I'm like, I could ride this. Stand and climb. I used to try and ride really narrow fixed gear bars. It was a nightmare. You're so unstable. I do love a 27-inch 1 1/4 Pan Racer Pasela. Felt like an old touring bike. It felt quick and nimble. It is a good first start. We might play with it some more. We might even go right around the block one more time. Might be a keeper. Pretty sweet, these Nervex lugs and this crustiness. A lot of places I like to ride around town too. It's totally flat. Grocery store bike, I'll leave in front of the movies bike. And what do I have into this thing? maybe 125 bucks or something. 20 for the wheels, 100 for the bike, 25 for the new pads, some cable and housing, 150, bunch of labor and a few random parts. Pretty hot. Oh my god, it's been like well over a week since I last test drove this. I keep meaning to, but the weather sucks, and you know, I want to do my eBay stuff or be lazy and watch TV or, you know, waste my life. But I'm all inspired to do it again. So I'm upstairs, the weather's gorgeous. It's a perfect time to take a bike ride. I'm out of something, I'm sure. I'm right up to the grocery store or whatever, you know, it's 15 minutes each way. It's a nice little ride. But it's been a little discouraging because it's been sitting here with a flat tire since right after my first test ride. But I just saw this gorgeous Circle A Cycles frame on sale on Craigslist in my size. Brakeless track bike, you know, built by Brian Chapman, who's really famous now for as one of the best ramblers ever. Just does the most gorgeous work. You should follow him on Instagram. He's just absolutely amazing, or Facebook or whatever. But it was not built by him, but he was there at the collective. It was like several frame builders. It got me all excited. I'm not going to buy a track bike. My knees are dead. Even riding this as a single speed, it's ridiculous. I'm only riding on flat ground. I won't commute on it or anything. It'll be a grocery store / bar hopping bike. But it got me all excited, and I'm going to fix it. Flat tire. Flat tire is discouraging. The whole bike is done except for a random click, which is probably this freewheel, possibly this chain. I'm going to take the back wheel out, make sure all the links move real smooth. I mean, you know, it could be a bottom bracket, it could be a chain ring bolt, it could be the paddle, honestly. It could be a lot of things. It probably doesn't matter. I'm going to lube up the chain and make sure it's all loosey-goosey, and that's not what's catching. Could be a bent tooth on the chain ring. It's so intermittent. Oh, I think I almost heard it. It could be the hub itself, but I bet you it's this old freewheel. And I'll just lube that up too. I was going to put it on the fixed gear side. See if that makes it go away. That'll be the next test ride. First though, we got to fix this flat, man. Fixing flats is easy if you know what you're doing. It is next to impossible if you don't know what you're doing. Pinch, quick release. 15 millimeter for these fixed gear hubs. I got the bolts, drops right out. This is nice and old from the 60s. It doesn't have any of that nonsense lawyer lips or safety features. Ridiculous stuff. Using my trusty workbench, aka the washer and dryer. Now before I do anything too crazy, I'm gonna go look. Just make sure there's nothing really obvious. Why? I don't know why. Makes me feel better about myself. It's probably a lie. Whatevs. Oh, I gotta find a tire lever. I can never find tire levers here for some reason. I have taken to drilling a hole in all my tire levers so I can hang them on my workbench. So at least there's usually one or two hanging on the workbench where I can find them. Let all the air out. Sometimes there's a little bit of air trapped and it'll make it real hard to get the tire off. People always skip that step and wonder why nothing works. Okay, it's already flat. You're like, man, is it? It's pretty flat. Is it all the way flat? All right, now I'm keeping track of which side to pull the tire out, which side to pull the tube out. I'll put some air in this dude and see if I can find that hole. Maybe it'll tell me what caused it and where to go look for it on the actual tire or rim. I'm listening for a pinhole, a tiny little pinhole. Or have it by your face. Your lips are real sensitive. Face is more sensitive. You might feel a little gust of wind. This might not have a flat. Might have a defective valve. Didn't find it. Go around again. I test all my used tubes and old tubes. Someone drew an X on this with a paint pen. It could be old. Pump them up and let them sit around for a week to make sure they don't have a leak. But, you know, you don't always win. Tubes are like 10 bucks a piece. I saved my tubes. When I was at the shop, I didn't patch them. I didn't recommend patching them because the quality has gone way down. I just did not trust them. I only guarantee a warranty on a tire repair with a new tube. I feel like I hear something. I don't know. I have a few used tubes I haven't checked yet. Should I be brave? I don't feel like being brave. I bet they're fine. I lied. I'm gonna be brave. I think they're the right size. Let's pump them up and see. There's a very good chance it's just a defective valve on that other tube. Either that or it's a hole so small I can't hear it. Could have taken days to go flat. Really making this thing pretty fat. So this is the new used that I pulled out of some other wheel set or off some bike I stripped down, or came to me in a bag. Well, I don't hear nothing. It doesn't look too old. I'm going to go for it. Now, out of total paranoia, I'm still going to run my hands in here, trying to feel anything sharp. Sometimes you can. Most flats are caused by a little teeny tiny wire. Those wires are inside of radial car tires. When people don't change their tires, they run them bald, and they get so bald they get down to the wire and break off little bits of wire and leave them all over the street. So you'll get them more in poor neighborhoods than industrial neighborhoods. I don't usually want to hate on people for being poor because I'm poor, but sure have had a lot of flats with little wires. Especially when it's rainy, makes the wires sort of stick to the ground and point straight up. Makes little shards of glass do that too. Most of that glass is probably from broken beer bottles in the street from drunks, and I don't want to hate on drunks because I'm one of those too, but you know, don't break glass in the bike lane, you jerks. You're not sticking it to the man. Go break glass in front of the mayor's house or something. Stick it to the man. Ugh, this tube is not really holding in shape for air pressure or whatever. I like to leave a little bit of roundness to the tubes for this exact reason, because if they go totally flat, it's real easy for them to get pinched, and if you don't notice, you are boned. This tube's just like, oh, if you let any air out, you let all the air out. Little roundness. Don't leak my air out, bro, I need it. Closing that valve so it doesn't leak the out. I hate this pump still. Falls over all the time. I made sure the tube's all the way in. I'm pinching the wheel back, the tire back, making sure I can see the rim tape. I'm going to get the tube all the way in, making sure it's not pinched anywhere, making sure it's a little round so it's up inside the tire. Not getting pinched. Tubes are easy to tear, man. If you use, roll it on my palms and my thumbs, if you use your tire lever and try and put your tube back on, all you're going to do is tear it. This is the most crucial step in a flat repair. Yanking this guy up and down so it clears. This is the most likely place for it to pinch. Make sure it clears, make sure it comes up here. No pinchies. No pinchies. This is a 27 1/4. Basically a 732. So I'm gonna put it like 80. You can ride this as low as like 30 if you want to get pinch flats and potholes and stuff, but boy, when it gets like real icy and frosty out, I'll put them down to like 28. Just ride slow and careful. Make sure I have some traction, make sure I don't get... Come on, you terrible pump, put some air in this tire. Riveting. I like jam nuts and valve caps just because I like a finished look. People hate long valve stems for some reason. They want the shortest one possible to save weight. These don't weigh anything. I like a long one because I can actually get my fingers on it and work with the damn thing. So I don't mind them at all. I hate short ones and it's like barely poking out and you can't get to half the pumps to seat on them and blah blah blah. Well, hopefully it doesn't go flat again right away. If your fork isn't perfectly aligned, you will have some trouble getting your wheel in straight. I usually hold it right here and push straight up and just kind of barely cinch these nuts a little bit at a time. If you have any problems, put the bike on the ground and put all your weight on the stem, and gravity will force the wheel into the frame straight. But you have to be careful with these nuts. Start really tightening down one of these nuts. It's going to walk and pull the whole wheel crooked. So a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other side. This basket is really in my way, so I cannot see what's happening. It's probably not straight. I'm going put the brake back on and trust that if the brakes were straight before, they'll be straight still. And the wheel looks more or less perfectly straight. If you look in here and you see the tire way over to one side of the fork blade or the other, and don't ride it. It's not safe. You have to figure out what's going on. A crooked wheel will make your bike pull, and if you ride in both hands, you might feel it and fight a little bit, but you forget, you take your hands off the bars for a second, and the fork's gonna whip around, you're gonna wreck. Ask me how I fractured my wrist when I was a fixed gear hipster, learned how to be a bike mechanic. I didn't film any of that. I just lubed the chain and dropped lube all over this freewheel, hoping someone would get in those bearings. I looked, it's an Ace brand. Everything but Shimano was junk. Well, I mean, White Industries is nice, but you can go pay like $200 for a freewheel. And this cheaper stuff, really donate to somebody who won't care if it's knocking or throw it away. I used to buy these and put them on bikes and they explode literally on a test ride. People come back 2 or 3 days later, they explode. Like 20 or 30% of them. Like, no, I've never had a single problem with a single real Shimano brand freewheel. Oh, I was gonna double check. I was in the dust cap off of the non-drive side, especially on French bikes. The non-drive likes to come loose, and then they will round out and blow out, and you were boned. I leave the dust cap off and give them one little extra check after the first test ride, or I'll tell a customer a day or a week. Oh, that's plenty tight. Put my dust cap in. Ooh, I just got this lock and key the other day. And I bought that cheap Centurion. What timing? So I've had the Strong Light dust cap off of this bike for months, sitting on top of the dryer. Now it's full of lint. And finally put it on. I don't want to lose it, but I want to strip it, and I want it to be able to come out later, so I'm just going to give it a little snug. Not too much. Not too much. Don't fall out. Hard to replace dust cap. Now it's also like freezing out. I gotta put some pants on. Haven't brushed my teeth yet today. It's like 2 in the afternoon. Pants, brush my teeth. See if I can find any shoes anywhere that are kind of skinny and sexy and will fit in these. It's also like 32 degrees out, so hopefully ones aren't freezing. And we're gonna take this thing on another test ride. Whew. Well, I took the bike on a little test ride. I felt like an idiot for not getting a pump and spare tube and tools. I just didn't wanna. I figured worst case I could walk home. I'm glad I didn't have to because I wore just like house slippers because they're the only thing I had that looked good. Not look good, but would fit in those toe cages and straps. I've got old and all my shoes are orthopedic old man shoes. There's no bungee net or basket on here, so I had a couple potholes where I almost lost a Jelly Belly water or a Diana's banana. I also, so luckily this is a test ride because I also found one thing that was really wrong. I didn't bother to tighten down these levers, so they kept moving. I'm like, why are my levers in such a bad position? Oh yeah! Luckily I moved them right to a good position. No flats, no creaks. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know if you see, but I found my ear flaps. I found these at a dollar bin. They're just a piece of like triangle cut felt with 2 little strips of Velcro in them. They're amazing. I used to have them, seamstress in my neighborhood make these with some at the shop. I use my old like Gore-Tex jacket. You know, they die a little bit in a couple spots for us to be good, so cut that out. Let's find some nice wool at Goodwill. Have them sewn up like soft merino wool with Gore-Tex on the outside. I can't find any of those, but I found these guys. And they're also great because you can kind of grab them and just rip the Velcro right off while you're riding if you start overheating. Let the air come in around the front and the sides and a little bit to keep you warm, not overheat. They're great. I recommend just making yourself a set. But yeah, bike did good. The bars are these insanely wide mountain bike bars, and I wish they were a little wider. Maybe I'll turn it into like a mountain bike on the street, bro. Crazy wide bars. And the saddle is definitely at a bit much of an angle for flat bars. Probably need to come up a little bit if I had cruiser bars, but since it's got the flat bars, it needs to come down a little bit. And those old Brooks, I had to leather treat it before it completely rips apart because it's cool. And those old Mayfax, they stop better than vintage single pivot bolts, but not better than modern Tektros or anything else. But they're all right. Yeah, it's fun. I got the basket on a little crooked. And it was kind of driving me nuts looking at it. Otherwise, this bike feels good. It's definitely overgeared. I really need to put a bigger freewheel on. It's probably a 16. I need to go to a 17 probably. Just a little. I was just like riding real slow and pushing. And luckily with my little house slippers, I couldn't push too hard and blow my knees out. So I was mostly just riding pretty slow. The way there felt alright. It's like I was in one gear too hard. I wish I could shift. The way back I was like, oh, I'm so slow. But yeah, that is it for the Peugeot, the vintage Peugeot, probably early 60s, mid 60s. Beautiful Reynolds 531 thick tubes with some cool old French parts on it still. God, I kind of love this scruffy old bar bike. And look forward to locking it up and kicking it around at the local pizza place and pub and bar hopping with my friends this summer. So thanks for watching, and I promise I'll get started on the Paramount next.